Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Let's get started. Our first one comes from Dear Worldly 483. Am I the beehole for telling my stepmother she's not my mom and I'm not going to give her that mother/daughter experience? My stepmother married my dad when I, a 17-year-old female, was 10, and my mom died when I was 5. My stepmother and my dad have 3 sons together and no daughters. My stepmother always wanted a daughter, though, and when she married my dad, she tried really hard to take over the role as mom. I never wanted her to be. That is not her specific thing. I wouldn't have allowed anyone else in but my mom. Still, I liked my stepmother for the first couple of years, and other than a couple of annoying things, she tried to give me a more girly nickname, because my name is more unisex, and her talk of being a new mom, it got more strained though, when my oldest half-brother was born just over a year after my dad and stepmother got married. Once he was born, she asked me if she could adopt me, and if I'd like to be her little girl. And I said no. My dad asked me to talk to him about it, and I told him nobody else could be my mom. He mentioned legal stuff, and I said I don't want the legal protections. From adoptions, I wouldn't choose my stepmother if he died anyway. My dad understood and told me as long as I was treating her respectfully, he wouldn't push the issue. He talked to his wife about it and told her the adoption was off the table, and that she wouldn't bring it up again. My stepmother went crazy after that. She was always trying to sign us up for mother/daughter trips, and tried to spend more and more time with me. She would come up with random trips or experiences for the both of us together, and she started cutting my chores and responsibilities that I did before I knew her. She admitted she wanted to show me how great having a mom could be. I told her I didn't want her doing that stuff. Then I started making excuses and getting out of spending any time with her. She had my second half-brother and was growing even more depressed, and then that we'd never spend time together anymore. After my third half-brother was born, she got really intense. It didn't help that she found out I had gone to my grandma over her with my first period, and I hadn't mentioned getting periods to her at that point. I had them for 3-ish years at that point. She had this whole talk planned, and was upset that I skipped it with her and went to someone else. She was also upset that I didn't experiment with makeup, really, or go for her for makeup/hair advice. Last week, my stepmother told me she wanted to be the one I go prom dress shopping with. She told me it's a huge milestone for moms and daughters, and she refused to let us miss out on it. I told her I'd go with my friends when the time comes. And she was upset and told me she wants this to be a nice mother/daughter experience. I told her she's not my mom, and I'm not going to give her this mother/daughter experience. I told her she's not getting any of those because she is not my mom and I don't want her to be. She got really upset, and I heard her and my dad fight about it. He told her she can't force that on me. She said I could be more willing to let her in. Am I the beehole? Hi, OP. I'm gonna say you're not the beehole. And I don't know why people don't get this. You can't force this type. Nobody wants anything forced on them, especially when it comes to step anything. You can't force that type of thing. If it happens, it happens, but you can't. And plus, I know I've said this before, but you can't just say I'm your mom now. Yeah, screw your other mom. I'm your mom, and you can't force it. People are gonna rebel. It's in our nature to do that. So OP, I'm definitely gonna say you're not the beehole. And you know what? That sucks for her, but she's gonna have to deal with it. She's tried too hard. It's that whole, if you grip too hard, everything's gonna pour out. You're gonna lose it, but you gotta be able to let things go. And honestly, if she had been cool, even if you didn't want her to be your mother, I bet you could have been like, oh, she's cool. I'm gonna bring her with my dress because I'm cool with her. I want to get her opinion. But she forced it, and yeah, I'd be in the same situation as you. You don't want someone who's forcing themselves on you like that to be with you on milestones. Yeah, OP, not the beehole. Okay, before we get started, this one I didn't get from I'm the Beagle. I saw this on the front page, so I forgot where I got it from, but it's an interesting one, so let's get started. This one comes from Throwaway Definitely. She made me wait almost 4 years for an horizontal mambo. It doesn't say that, but I don't know YouTube, so I'm playing it safe. But slept with him in a week. Am I wrong to be angry about this? I'm kinda having a mental breakdown at the moment, so my words may not make sense. I was in a relationship with my now ex, I guess, girlfriend for 5 years. We didn't have relations until we were 4 years in because she wanted to wait until it felt right. I respected it wholeheartedly. Of course I wanted to, but I loved her more than I wanted to have relationships with her. So I waited until she blatantly told me she was ready and dragged me into the bedroom herself. Just in January, she told me she wanted to take a step back from our relationship and she wasn't in the right mind space to be with me. I was hurt, but she assured me she loved me and would be with me again when she got her mind right. Alright. Well, we remained friends and talked daily. I was excited for the day when we could get back together. At the beginning of the month, she started ranting me about this gross guy in her friend circle who wouldn't stop hitting on her and looked at her body, called him a F-boy, etc., etc. I was annoyed and told her to stay away from a weirdo like that. She told me she would call him a creep, etc., etc. And then a couple days later, she calls me to tell me they just had relations. She was saying she didn't know how it happened. Yeah, really, you didn't know how it happened. All right. It was so fast. She couldn't believe she did it, etc., etc. I was shattered, but wanted to at least make sure it was consensual, and she said it was, but she wasn't thinking straight. I was shaking all over, nauseous, the 9 yards. She called me while I was headed to take a major test. I somehow managed to take it, but as soon as I was done, I ran outside of the classroom and threw up. She had sent me multiple texts apologizing, saying it meant nothing, and it was just a bad place. I told her I couldn't speak to her at the moment. What she did hurts, but how she did it hurts the most. How could she have done this with a guy she barely knew? Such a creepy one at that. I'll tell you right now, he wasn't creepy. He was probably 6 foot, handsome as hell, and had money. Or had a lot of game, but sorry, back to it. How could she have done this so easily when she took her sweet time with me? I feel disgusted and angry. There's so much rage. A part of me feels guilty of how I feels, since I knew she didn't owe me engagement and owns her own body. I'm not usually anywhere close to misogynist, but this is such a slap in the face. I feel like my heart was be-slapped. Am I wrong? Edit. Because many people asked, I am 21 and she is 20. We got together at 16 and 15 and lost our V's to each other. Update. I was just going to text her to say goodbye / cut her off. She tells me she doesn't think we should speak anymore because of her terrible mental state. Oh god, she's disgusting. Surprise, surprise. She effed him again. She claimed she did it yet again because she was on a downward spiral. Doesn't want to pull me down with her. Oh my god, she's such a good person. She doesn't want you to fall down with her. Said she wants to spare me from a woman as insane as she is, and to live my best life without her. Pretty sure she blocked me. 6 years. 6 years I've known this girl. 5 years together. All for it to end up like this. I don't know how I'm going to continue with my studies. Edit. Forgot to add. For some reason, she felt that it was very important to let me know that they use no protection, and he, inside of her. Note, we use condoms every single time, so that's an extra layer of a gut stab, on top of knowing she could be very well diseased or pregnant now, completely burning any possibility of us getting back together. Not like it was ever a real possibility anyhow. Hi OP, I know this is from Not the Beehole. This isn't from that Reddit, but I'm gonna say you're not the Beehole. Straight up, she is. The reason she's telling you that is because, well, she gets off on causing you pain because she doesn't respect you. But she's also keeping you in the pocket as the safe guy when she's done playing the field or, walking those streets, so she can come back to you and, marry you and leech off your money and treat you like crap and not give you any relations because she doesn't respect you or feel any attraction to you. You are just her safety net. It sounds like you are going to follow what I said and end that relationship. That is completely done. Block her from everything. Do not let her back into your life. Because when she's done, discarded and used up from the F-boys, because they don't care about having a relationship with her, she's going to come crawling back to you and trying to be like, oh, I always loved you after I've been ran through from everybody and I'm diseased and, all of that. Please, let's get back together. Do not even entertain a conversation with her when she does come back, OP. That person doesn't exist to you anymore. She is not a thing. She's just not there anymore. You can't speak to Ghost because she is evil. She was over there telling you that. She made sure to tell you that they did not use protection to let her know this guy, he is more worthy than you. I see him as better than you. So he was able to use, not to use protection on me, but you had to wait 4 years. Well, this guy got it in what, like a day, a night? Let's be honest, probably a night. Chicks always fall for the F-boys. OP, from this story, it sounds like you're a good dude and you deserve better. And it's going to be tough out there. You're in college. College chicks nowadays are pieces of work. My suggestion to you, OP, is what, you're in your 20s. Focus on your studies, focus on getting a good job, building your money, work out. When I was going through a dark time, I started working out, and that really does help. It slows the world down just for a little bit. It makes you feel better, especially when you feel the soreness and the pain. I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I love that. So P, yeah, get your body in shape, get your money up, because the only way you're going to be ever, I know, I don't even know if you're looking for revenge, but the best way to get revenge on anyone is to do better, is to rise above and be, in a better place than them, which is easy for you to do if you can get your job in order and all that. And you're in your 20s, so you got time. Don't waste your time on relationships and all that. Get your money, get your life squared up. And then when you're like in your 30s, start trying to find a good woman. That's when you can actually have some resources and you can overpower the F-boys. But even then, I don't think that's the type of woman you'd want to attract. So it's a tough battle. But OP, judging by the end of that story, you are doing the right thing by cutting her off. Again, cut her off. When she tries to weasel her way back in, do not let her back in. That person does not exist anymore, OP. You can find a good woman out there. Not the beehole. Even though this wasn't from Not the Beehole, not the beehole. And our final one comes from Chenzo55 Beta. Am I the beehole for letting my girlfriend be homeless? I started dating my longtime friend about 7 months ago, and while I've always had a crush on her and loved her personality, she has a reoccurring problem. She has a hard time finding/keeping a residence for long periods of time. She has no family that is responsible enough to turn to, and her friends are all either moved out of state or married with children, so she doesn't have many places to turn to. Not long after we started dating, about a week, she confessed to me that she was behind on her bills, rent, car payment, to the point she couldn't provide for herself. Being a longtime friend and now boyfriend, I helped her out by giving her $700 so she could set her sales right. That helped until she fell ill and missed a week of work so she could be behind on payments. She suffers from a compromised immune system, so I wasn't going to hold that against her. I gave her another 1,000 to cover the expenses so she could have more than enough to make the upcoming payments and still eat. Then her uncle ruins the relationship between her and her landlord, meaning she only has a month to find a new place to live. She refuses to live with a roommate, and after a month, I convinced my parents to let her live with us in my room rent-free. Not long after she moves in, she quits her job. They were abusive to the point of law breaking. I'm starting to see a pattern here. And she looks for a new one, taking a month or so to do so. I pay all of her costs at the time, for another 600-ish. Then she lands a job at a chain coffee shop and needs a new wardrobe for the dress code. I front the bill for that and makeup for about $1,000, including makeup and new clothes. She starts the job and is immediately being harassed by the staff for her short height, some not even helping her get things from the high shelves. She then falls ill with the coof, and misses more than a week of work. The coffee shop demands she take a leave of absence for some reason, but we decided it's better for her to look into getting her old job back. I pay her expenses for another 700-ish, and she goes back to her old job. Now, after 4 months and able to make money, my folks want her to leave, having overstayed her welcome. But she doesn't want a roommate, and wants to get a house with me, a goal I've been saving up for nearly a year at this point. Now she's living with a coworker until the end of the month, and she'll be homeless after unless I find and close on a house. She is upset that it isn't happening fast enough for her, but I feel like I've done a lot for her already, and she needs to square her own rigging and find a place to rent with a roommate until I have enough saved up to buy a house. Hi OP, you are not the beehole, but you would be the beehole to buy a house and let that woman move in with you, OP. She is using you. Holy hell, does she not feel like crap taking all that money from you? Notice how she never offered to pay you back when she started to get a job. And notice how she's always blaming others for why she's losing her jobs. What's the one constant in that equation, OP? It's her. I doubt as soon as she started, people are going to start harassing her for her height. She's making up crap, OP, because she doesn't want to work and she knows she can bleed money out of you. OP, I get it. She's the one you've been chasing, child, a best friend, and all that, and you're probably giddy. You finally got her, but OP, you don't want her. She is using you, my friend. She's ruining your goal of trying to get a house. She took a lot of money from you that could be put towards your house, OP. Do not let her. Do not. If you get a house, do not let her live with you. She is not going to make your life any easier or better. She's most likely going to move in, use you, not give anything to you, if you know what I mean, eventually break up with you, start bringing people into your house to engage with them, and you're going to have to be there and take it because squatters' rights or whatever, and you're going to have to fight to get her out. She's going to destroy a lot of things and make your life hell. OP, you see how your parents wanted her out? If she was a good person and made things and like was respectful, they'd probably be cool with her living there. OP, you sweet, sweet cherub. You need to wake up and you need to see that this girl is not good for you. You need to end it and break up with her and get her out of your life because there's just no point to having her around. She's just using you and she's going to make things worse. OP, you're not the beehole, but you would be the beehole if you let her move in with you and let her keep taking advantage of you like that. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. Can you please do what I said in the beginning and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Velvet out.